Now, finally, the rule for today, the silver rule, the fifth silver rule. My conscientious self, have regard for the feelings of every soul. So this is a rule that asks us to pay attention to the feelings of other people, their perspectives, which doesn't come easily if one is in a state of egoic self-concern, especially if one is in a state of heightened emotional reactivity. It's very difficult to have the peace of mind that would allow one to really see another person, hear another person. One is ready to speak, one is ready to project one's opinions, but is one ready to listen? It takes us a definite act of will and a quality of receptivity. So this principle reminds us to try to cultivate that capacity to really listen. Now, what would stop us from doing that? Maybe we have a fear that if it's hard enough to carry the load of our own concerns, our own hopes and fears, that's already a heavy load. And now we will also carry the hopes and fears of this person and that person whom I hardly know. It seems a lot to take on board. So there's a certain reticence. It's enough to carry what I carry, one feels. On the other hand, by putting oneself in someone else's shoes, one need not cease to hold one's own thoughts and ideas. In fact, we all feel that we have a certain dharma, we have a certain purpose. There's something that we're responsible for. We don't want to disregard it. We don't want to leave it unfulfilled. But we need not suppose that in listening to someone else, in considering their point of view, we have to abandon our own. We can have our own point of view. We can fulfill our intended purpose, but at the same time, just listen. Just listen. Just see where that person is coming from. Maybe it won't change your mind. You come back to your point of view, but you have taken the step of stepping outside of yourself for a moment, imaginatively entering another person's life, how they see things, the result of their experiences, which are different from your own experiences. You have yours, and that's natural to you. That's what you've been shown. But someone else has been shown something else. And if you can take a moment just to witness that and acknowledge that, it opens up a new space between you. And that space will accommodate more patience and a greater possibility for understanding. Even if in the end you make a decision which the other person opposes, but still you've genuinely sought to understand why the person thinks as he or she does. And you might find that it does affect your decision. You're able to make better decisions the more that you know of the people around you and how they experience things. The more you sense the whole sum of people's experiences, the vaster your frame of reference and the better decisions will come, without abandoning your own responsibility and your purpose and being true to your experience. So it requires a certain amount of humility and the ability to not to be so sure always of one's rightness and the wrongness of the other, to be ready to apologize even. This is expressed in a wonderful poem of Mushid, which can represent an aspiration. Even if we don't always fulfill this intention, it's a horizon of possibility that we can go toward. It's an ideal. And so we close today with these words, the words of Mushid's poem. While I was roaming through the forest, a thorn pricked my bare foot and cried, "Ah, you have crushed me." I felt sorry and I asked its forgiveness. A wasp flying in the air stung my arm and cried, "Ah, you have caught me in your sleeve." I felt sorry and I asked its forgiveness. My foot slipped and I fell in a pool of muddy water. The water cried, "Ah, you have disturbed me." I felt sorry and asked its forgiveness. I absently happened to touch a burning fire, and the fire cried, "Ah, you have extinguished me." I felt sorry and asked its forgiveness. I asked my gentle self, "Have you received any harm?" "Be thankful," said she, "that it was not worse."